In this episode, I want to delve into libraries and databases as I explore the importance of legwork in any campaign. I need help sorting out my sorcerers, and I share my new credit system for MSpace. Welcome to the Mythras Matters podcast, Season 1, Episode 75. Leg Day, Credit, and Sorting Sorcery. Hello and welcome to Mythras Matters, a podcast dedicated to the Mythras rules set and all its supplements. As always, I'm your host, Inwils, and welcome to November. Wow, what a great response we got for last month's episode. It's an episode that appears to have inspired you to implement a greater depth of role-playing into your campaigns. I have to say that I was completely inspired by the discussion as well, and I have already started to think differently about my NPCs. Looking through their eyes has allowed me to see scenarios and encounters completely differently. Before, I would see NPCs and opponents from that top-down view on my map. Now I switch sight and consider what they are actually seeing. It has been especially beneficial for me when I think about their actions, including who will they attack next. I also want to take this opportunity to give everyone a heads up for December's episode of Mythras Matters. The rules guru, Matt Eager, will join me as we discuss probably the most opinionated topic in the game, movement in combat. Yes, many of you have asked for this, and I have to say I avoided making an episode or video on it, so I was pleased when Matt suggested it as a topic. Of course, I quickly agreed to have him back on the podcast. It will definitely give you all something to ponder over your Christmas festivities. Before we get into the main topic for this month's episode, I wanted to have a quick chat about sorcerers. I recognise that some people out there don't like sorcerers or even their magic in their campaigns, but I think magic is an essential part of any fantasy ecosystem, and I have even created a whole order system for the sorcerers that explore my campaign world. However, it was while I was GMing classic fantasy that I realised that when it comes to sorcerers, I am a bit lost. So in classic fantasy, magic users are the wizards or sorcerers that I have come to know and love from fantasy films and fiction. They wield those familiar wizard spells, fireball, cone of cold, and even finger of death. But when I look at sorcerers, well, they are lacking in those supremely high damaging spells. They do, in fact, lack any sort of pyrotechnic abilities, apart from rack and possibly smother, and the lightning bolt spell lives in the realm of divine magic. The more I look into sorcery, the more I realise that their spells are uniquely dissimilar to the spells I have grown to associate with my beloved magic users. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the mechanics that sorcery allows, the ability to combine multiple spells, target multiple opponents, and even extend the range and duration of the spells. But I am lacking a basis to make sorcery familiar. And whenever I get to this stage in my thinking or pondering, I turn to you, the podcast audience, to provide me with some direction. Now, the core rulebook sets the right feel for sorcerers, the path of sorcery being a hard one requiring much time spent in studying and research, and also suggests that practitioners are loners, but powerful beings able to shield natives from more primitive forms of magic. Sorry, theists, or provide an increase to the standard of living by the maintenance of enchantments. So who or what are sorcerers? I proved to myself that they are not the usual magic user I have grown to love. Are they some sort of golem creators, able to animate substances, or are they like warlocks being able to summon demons from abysmal planes? They have combat-related spells that aid the act of combat, like bypass armor and damage resistance, but they are able to regenerate hit points, which is completely unlike the magic users that I am familiar with. I need a starting point to base my sorcery on, and I know that you will have something or somewhere where you can direct me. And yes, I am prepared to summon and shape change, and if the road ahead is difficult, be assured I have my protective wards in place. Let me know in the Discord or in the comments. At the start of every adventure, there is the information gathering phase or legwork. Whether the players are roaming the streets of their starting city, flicking through ancient tomes in a library, or doom scrolling through endless data, the players need to collect clues to the plotline and use this information to create a plan. This legwork phase can often be overlooked by both players and GMs, and it can just be resolved by a series of knowledge rolls that provide the party with the information they need. But I think this would be a great shame, since the legwork phase can provide an extra level of depth to any adventure. To start off with, we need to consider how the party will be gathering and making sense of the information. Streetwise, computer and research skills can be rolled with a simple success indicating that the information has been discovered. But often I want a little more in my campaigns, and I have achieved this in a number of different ways. First, I use a comparison roll mechanic. In this instance, I assign the information available to certain percentages. Then, when the player rolls their streetwise skill, for example, I compare their roll to the information available and share what they find. This is probably explained better with an example. So while searching the online social media platforms, our intrepid scientist is trying to locate the news about a new medicine that has been used to promote mutations. Sometimes I do worry about the examples that my brain comes up with. Anyway, the scientist has a research skill of 86% and rolls the dice, and rolling a 72%, a success. Now, in the usual system, this would mean that the information would just be shared with the player. But in my system, things are slightly different. Before the game, I have assigned skill levels for the information available about the medicine on the internet. I first started to use this method while playing Shadowrun 5th edition, when the skill rolls would result in a number of successes. I simply converted these successes to percentages. So at 10% is the information that the medicine has indeed been used throughout the galaxy. This is a low percentage, so most people would be successful in gaining this information. At 30%, I have the information relating to certain planets or even cities when there has been an increase in its use. 60%, some company names, and finally 80%, the names of people involved with the use of the new medicine. Comparing the character's initial roll of 72% shows that they have gained 3 levels of information, but not the final names involved. Of course, a critical would gain all the information, and a fumble would provide false information. You would need some good role players to act on false information unless you were using hidden roles. If the information is needed for the adventure, then I always make this knowledge available on a successful roll with no specific skill level. The higher the skill roll would just make the adventure easier or warn players about possible dangers that they might encounter on the way. With this method, players are more likely to use luck rolls to alter their rolls or augment their rolls with other skills, and there would be some skill levels that are unable to find the juicy pieces of information, which might lead to my second way of completing legwork, hiring someone. If the players have very low skills to find or understand the information that is available, then it might be that they need to hire someone to find the information for them. This in itself leads to more role-playing and social interactions. Rather than developing their own skills, the party might want to invest their time and money into contacts. Each contact would provide a particular skill or an area of expertise. These might range from inside business knowledge to the local gangs on the streets. With contacts, it becomes more of a case of who you know rather than what you know. Contacts provide a layer of player interaction that can really add to a campaign. Does the party visit that contact that may have the information but can be a real pain in the neck? Yes, I am referring to you, Sylvester McCoon, in the starting town of Lindo. Not only would these contacts need to be paid either with currency or favours, they might also take an interest in the party's exploits and decide to lie to them and decide to sell the information to the highest bidder or even let it slip to the wrong people that the party is inquiring about them. And if this happens, then the party are going to be encountering some barriers to their information gathering, which is the third and final method of researching in my campaigns. The biggest barrier to information gathering has to be time. In films, this is shown with numerous cutscenes with the passage of time depicted in the change of light from day to night, or a superimposed low opacity clock with its hands going round and round. But in game terms, we need to think of a different way to show how much time has gone past. At this point, I adopt the wonderful extended conflict rules from M-Space. This assigns a skill and number of points and a time element to the information that can be found. Each opposed roll allows a total number of points to be reduced as time passes. Eventually, the points are reduced to 0 and the player has found the information, or if the player's points are reduced to 0, then no information is located. The important aspect of this system is the time element. This can be adjusted to be minutes, hours, days, or even months. This is particularly effective if the players are doing their information gathering while traveling to the start of the adventure. Then it is a race to find out how much information can they discover before they reach the destination. If you want more information about the extended conflict roles, then check out MSpace or the video I made about the topic on my YouTube channel. Some information is just very hard to find, and this can be a barrier. Instead of using the normal skill check and needing a standard success, then you can adjust the difficulty grade of the information. This can be coupled with the first idea I shared with the percentages. Just replace those percentages with the difficulty level. So being successful at a very easy level will provide some less important facts, while succeeding at a formidable level would provide more juicy information. These changes in difficulty levels can be represented by the information being saved in the darkest, deepest depths of the internet or the local mage's library. And then there is the barrier of the opponent. If the players are searching for a specific piece of information, then why not have an opposing force also looking for the information? Although they might not have any locating skills, the opponents might just be waiting for the character or contact to find the information before they act. Imagine the party's surprise and possible disappointment to return to see what their contact has found out, only to find them a dagger in their back, slumped over an ancient tome with a page ripped out. Finally, and I would only use this method with blind roles or truly fantastic role players, would be the barrier of false information. This is when the facts found are completely incorrect or lead the party in completely the different direction. This works well with contacts providing information, since the roles for these are often done when negotiating the price rather than rolling for a specific piece of information. I hope this has given you some ideas to spice up the legwork phase of your adventures. Do let me know in the comments what you use when the players are out there gathering their information. Remember, if you would like to contribute to the podcast, then why not just drop me an email or message and let me know what you would like to chat about. We are always looking for reviews, interviews, or just topics to chat about. So if you're interested, you can email me at inwils@gmail.com or send me a message on the various forums and Discord. I always struggle with money. Now, when I say that, I'm not referring to my personal life, but when I'm trying to deal with money in my campaign worlds. When I started to think about money or credits in my MSpace world, I took inspiration from Mike's discussion in episode 71 and from playing his new fantasy rule set that will be out soon on Kickstarter. It's called Scale Mail if you're interested. I have this real issue with credits that has haunted me every time I play in sci-fi settings. This is what it is. Imagine the cost of a new starship. This is probably thousands or millions of credits, but there would be a point when the players are just one credit short for paying for that new Star Destroyer. Yes, just one credit. This has never sat well with me, so I wanted to create a new system that was easy and still made gaining credits an important part of the campaign. So I have introduced ranks and cost for items. So at rank 1 are food, lodgings, entertainment, and ammunition. Rank 1 items cost 10 credits, while rank 2 items, weapons, armor, and equipment, cost 100 credits. But To add an element of variation, there is a dice roll that multiplies the standard amount. Initially, this was going to be a D8, but I might even push it to a D10. So when the party have a meal in the local diner, they roll a 1d10 and we multiplied this by the rank 1 price of 10 credits to get the cost per person. Of course, the multiplier could be decided by me as the GM. For example, if the party go to an expensive restaurant to impress their Patreon, then I will be using 9 or 10 as the multiplier. And just to ensure I have everything covered, if there is a negotiation roll involved, then the player will be able to increase or decrease the amount by 1d4. Possibly. I'm not 100% sure about that, but that's the idea I have in my head. I must say I'm quite proud of the system at the moment, so let me know if you can see any flaws in it or whether or not you know of a much simpler method for me to implement. And that's it, another episode of Mythras Matters completed. Don't forget you can check out all my content by subscribing to my YouTube channel and the campaign areas on World Anvil. And if you would like to support my creator career, then check out my adventures, encounters, and my new fanzine, Animated Dead, all available for download on my Ko-fi page. Links in the description. So until next time, have a great month of gaming, and I will chat to you all again in December when we tackle movement in combat. Until then, I hope all your opposed rolls are successful and provide you with a well-deserved special. Thanks for listening, everyone. See ya. Bye. The content of this podcast is covered by the Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, so please give appropriate credit if you are sharing or copying any part of this podcast. Thank you.